Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is a continuation of part one of the What is Autism video that I posted previously. Please make sure that you watch that video first before watching this one because it is a continuation. Thanks so much for the love, guys. Bye.
The other thing is restrictive or repetitive behavior. So children with autism tend to want to do the same things over and over again. They are so hell-bent or stuck up on routine, or something has to be done over and over again. To them, it is soothing, they like it, they love it. To the next person, it may be highly irritating. So, for example, again, Tiamo loves Mickey Mouse. He has loved Mickey Mouse ever since he's been aware there's something called Mickey Mouse. Okay, so he loves Mickey Mouse Club House. Yeah, Mickey Mouse Club House. Ever since he's been a baby. Until this day, he will still request Mickey Mouse. He has watched the same episodes over and over again, a million times, and he just doesn't get sick of it. The rest of us, on the other hand, cannot sing the same tune. You get to a point where it's like, okay, well, look, listen, we've watched this now 10 times throughout this minute, and we've had enough. But with them, it is different. They like it, they love it, they don't get tired of it. But and you come to think of it, at some point, we are the same or similar. But understand the way you. Oh, speaking of the devil, here we go. And then you say you don't like autistic children. Like, honey, huh? Someone else just get kisses out of the blue. Well, someone will complain, oh, my boy doesn't want me to hold him, or he's too big. Hey, I know we're still getting kisses, hun. We're still getting those unexpected kisses. But anyway, as I was saying, so with them, it is a norm. It's okay. They can watch the same thing over and over again. But at some point or at some part of our lives, we become the same. I'm sure if I ask you now how often you've watched a favorite movie, you're probably like, oh, well, I've watched it 3 times already. You're just going to get sick of it. The only difference with us is that you don't watch the same movie every single day or in the same day, on the same day, in a space of a few minutes apart, you know. But with them, that's how it is. They have repetitive behavior. They're restrictive as well. So they will want or like specific things and not necessarily be open to trying out new things. That comes and that comes with with food, more especially. They become the most fussiest or picky eaters. They're very huge with picky eaters. They may not want to try any new fruit, any new food, whatever. If I love chicken nuggets, I love chicken nuggets. And that is how they are. You do find children on the spectrum who are so restrictive to a point that as a parent, there's nothing else you can do but to have your child have their favorite foods every single day. Like, that is it. If your child loves, Cheerios or likes cornflakes, and they're autistic and they're hell-bent on having cornflakes only, it becomes really an uphill battle to get your kids to have something else or to try other foods because they're restricted. They this is what I want and I don't want anything else. And yes, sometimes autistic kids will rather go hungry than eat anything else. They will want what they want and they will not eat anything else until they eat what they want to eat. It does happen. Thankfully, that's not the case with me. Tiamo likely does try out new things. So yeah, thankfully he does try out new things, or he tries to 80% of the time to try out new things. There are things he is just will not have. He'll just look at it and that's it for him. He will not try it out. But you know, he is at most times he is open to try out other stuff. So they are restrictive, they are repetitive. That is why sometimes it's difficult when you have to maneuver around with an autistic child, because you have to be conscious of them and their sensory needs. It's more especially they love things that go around and round. Siamo does not mind sitting in front of the washing machine while you're doing laundry and just watch it just spin. It doesn't make him dizzy. It doesn't, he doesn't get tired of it, but he will just watch it just go round and round and round and round. He does not mind having to, if something is spinning, for instance, or you spin a coin, he doesn't mind literally lying down on the floor and just to watch that coin just go around and round and round. And that's just part of their character, or children on the spectrum, that things that go around and round as well becomes attractive to them. So yeah, they are restrictive, they have repetitive behavior. Okay, so next thing also is that they tend to have an English ran away again. They tend to have an obsession with certain things. For instance, Siamo has a fixation with his hands, or fingers rather. He loves being in front of the mirror, doing hand gestures, pointing, playing with his fingers. He does not get tired of that, so he does have a fixation with his hands, to a point that if there is any movie, a children's movie, and there's a particular character that speaks with their hands or make hand gestures, he will imitate that. Out of the whole thing, he won't pick up the verbal cues, but would rather pick up the hand gestures that character is doing. So he that's his obsession, and that's his fixation. So they will have an obsession for certain things. He has an obsession for what do they call it, baby pram wheels. He loves baby pram wheels. If we are in a place, for instance, if like at church and there's a baby pram not far away from us, he will go and want to push, because he's got that fixation of the wheels, and he wants to move it up and down and up and down. That's what he likes to do. But again, comes back to repetitive behavior. He loves Mickey Mouse. That's his obsession, and he's fixated to it. He does watch other movies or other things. I have gradually and more often introduced him to other things. So he does watch other cartoons. Here and there he will have his favorite character. It doesn't last long, but at least he does have different choice in terms of what he watches. But he will always come back to his dearly beloved Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. So that is the obsession. Sure, they will have an obsession of things. Sometimes it does not have to be a particular show. It can be an obsession of a particular episode, and by episode I mean it can just be for instance, at the beginning of a movie when you have, is that the Warner Bros or the 20th century, but in movies we've got that part where ikalang, I'll see if I can insert it so that I make sense, but it goes something like, yeah. So for some autistic kids, that's it. They just have an obsession of part ew fela, and they don't care about watching the rest of the movie. They don't want to watch the rest of the movie, and that's the only part they want to watch, because they're obsessed with that particular intro, and they can watch that particular intro the whole days of their lives. And that is how it is. So they have an obsession with certain things. They can have an obsession with a particular toy that they have to take everywhere, particular blanket. So it varies, but yeah, they have an obsession with certain items. Okay, so another thing you can look out for is sameness, if I should put it that way. So they like, so they like things being the same. They don't like change. They don't like anything else being different. So it goes back to routine. So things have to be the same. Their routine has to be the same. There shouldn't be anything that breaks the routine, or else it does cause them to like have a meltdown or to react towards that. So a lot of them require or demand sameness in their lives. So for instance, a child with autism may require that they wanna wear red shorts every single Wednesday, or they wanna eat the same foods every single day, as I said earlier. So sometimes they do like want sameness. They have to be the same thing. Sometimes it's like even a route, a particular route, perhaps going from school to home, for instance, where they don't want you to take a detour. You have to use the very same route every single day. If you change because there's traffic, there's an whatever, it does affect them. It does get to them, guys. And to us it may be like, really, but for them it becomes a big deal that you change the routine. You're not supposed to be changing routes. This is the route that we used to go home, and this is the one that you stick with it. It doesn't care if there's a tornado, there's a hailstorm, this is the route that we used to go home. So some of them are that severe that they demand that sameness. Otherwise it does cause them to break down, to melt down, have a tantrum. Okay, but it does not come to all. Again, children who are on the spectrum are not the same. If you meet a child with autism, I always say you've only just met a child with autism. My Tiamo will not be the same as another child. He may have similar symptoms, similar experiences, but their challenges may be different. You get what I'm saying? So it doesn't necessarily mean because you're on the spectrum, you all function the same, you all have the same challenges, you all have the same experiences. No, everyone's challenges are different. The other thing you can look out for is if your child is over or under responsive to sensory input. So sometimes they may be over responsive. Yeah. So sometimes they may be over responsive to sensory stimuli. So for instance, we can have the volume at a particular level on the TV, and everything will be fine, and we'll watch television. But an ad, for instance, will come up and Sam will immediately just close his ears. You know what I mean? At first I didn't get it, but after I have done research and spoken to some people, I have come to learn that it's got nothing to do with the volume of the TV because it hasn't changed, but it's the way now the stimuli. It may be that on this particular advert that the certain sound that are coming through, that as you as a natural person or neurotypical person, your brain naturally balances those sounds, so you're not overly responsive or underly responsive. But for an autistic child, you find that in that particular ad, the sound all of a sudden it's just way too much for him, and so he'll just close his ears, and then after that ad, then he's fine. You know what I mean? It's also like, for instance, I have a colleague who, what do you call those, like fluorescent lights, those long light bulbs, and so we have those at work. And for her, for instance, she like can hear the volt of those fluorescent lights. To us, it's just a normal light. We passing through, day that we don't hear anything. But to her, she's so overly responsive that she can actually hear. So double check if they are overly or underly responsive to sensory input. Could be sometimes that people just being in a crowd to them becomes too much. So sometimes they will act out in a large crowd or where there's huge area, or even at the mall, for instance. You find that they just cannot tolerate being in a crowded area. They cannot tolerate being, in the mall. The noise is just way too much. Some of them, as I said, sensory input, you find that the lights alone are just too much. So you find that you have to go to a place, you have to dim the lights because that is they're overly responsive, or they're so sensitive to those lights, it being too bright. So you find that in your home you have to adjust your lighting just to accommodate that sensory reception of the brain. So it's you can look out for that as well, to see how they respond to their sensory or to the environment, as they receive it. Some don't like even what is that, the sound of a toilet. Tiamo, I know, is downright scared of when you go to the mall, the bathrooms in the mall, and where you get to wash your hands, and there's a place that suction, what do you call that thing, where you just the hand dryer, that sound, just for him, it scares him. It doesn't matter how I try to introduce it to him, or how I try to show him that it's just air coming out. It doesn't matter, but he just does not, he can't handle it. It's something else for him. So so for some of them, for him, that sensory or the sound of it becomes, it's a bit hectic. So look out if your child responds to sometimes the child does not respond to sound at all. You bang a door and the child does not react, the child does not respond, the child does not do anything. So you put something, any sound, any loudness, any banging, and they don't react to it, you honestly, you need to double check that. So that could be a red flag if your child does not respond to sounds, because that could mean that they're under responsive. So so that is just about, I think I've covered quite a few of the things to look out for. As I said, guys, I am not a professional. I just do a whole lot of research, and it's also based off of my experiences, what I have noticed with Siamo, his development delays, and knowing what the developmental milestones are, helped me to just see what he was delaying and to get an early diagnosis so that he gets his early intervention. Okay, so if you know, or if your child is going through those things, I would suggest that you just have a look into it. As I said, it doesn't necessarily mean that your child is autistic or that they have autism. It just maybe there is just a developmental delay, and it's nothing serious, and that they will be able to catch up. Sometimes it is just that they're not on the spectrum, but they may still require some sort of assistance so that they reach their milestones. So, but if you feel that your child is lacking in some way and it concerns you, I would honestly suggest that you go have it checked out, have your child assessed by neurological pediatrician, and have them assess your child, have a look. They are thorough. They go through the history of pregnancy, labor, both parents' history, because autism has been found to be genetic. I don't know. For all I know, I'm autistic, guys. I am not even diagnosed, but that's what they say. So if you have any issues or anything really that stands out that you're not really particularly sure with your child, it does not hurt to rather go and check it out. If it's nothing, then if it's nothing, but if it's something, you would have discovered that much earlier. So that is that. This is what today's video is about, and I hope this does help some of the people out there. I also want to take this chance to thank all of the people who do watch like these autism videos. I know honestly there hasn't been much, but I know in my previous video where I spoke about how I found out, I did throw in a few symptoms of what made me aware or what sort of gave me red flags to have Chilma checked out. And I did receive some responses where people were appreciative of sharing the story, sharing the experience. For many people, these videos may not appeal to them, it may not appeal to you, and that is okay. I'm just really here to help those that need the help. Autism is not, may not be an easy topic for everyone to talk about expressively or openly. Some people still are grasping with the diagnosis. Some people are still trying to deal with it in their homes. Some people still don't understand what it is. They don't know what to do. They don't know how to handle it. They're too scared to talk about it generally. And some, it's taboo. There's no such thing as autism or developmental delays. It's just, your ancestors are unhappy about something and bashapangwana, but it's things like this do exist. Science has proven it. So I hope these videos reach people who it's meant to reach and help those that it's meant to help. I hope I get to show other people that they're not alone and that they're not an island, that there are some of us who are willing to talk about our journey. At some point, I was also not comfortable with talking about autism. I felt people would look at my child in a different way. They will treat my child, okay, they've got a disability, or they're just not okay. So it was not easy to just openly talk about it, but also keeping it to myself didn't really help. So I've chosen to rather make people aware of what autism is, try to teach as many people as I can. If I get to teach one person each day, then that's one person closer to the maximum of people that I need to get to. The whole idea is I just want people to be aware of autism and to treat us and our children with the same treatment that they would treat any other person or any other child. Do not have pity. We don't want your pity, and we most certainly do not want your judgments. We do what we need to do for our kids. One day we'll come across an 11-year-old child who's still wearing nappies, and people are so quick to judge. I mean, with Tiamo, it was the same thing. Tiamo was, I think he was still 3 or 3.5, and he was still on nappies because he wasn't fully trained. And I would get judgment from people that, why are they still on nappies? And no, you should have taught them to potty train by now. I say I can do this. People always know how to raise other people's kids magically, as if we don't know what we are doing. So it's not because I haven't tried teaching Tiamo toilet training. It's just that because of how he processes it, he's just not there yet, and he may take a while. So thank heavens now he is 70% potty trained. Well, not potty, but toilet trained. He is so much better than how he was before, but we are still not there yet. So be slow to judge. Just be quick to be more understanding. We just want people to understand our situations. We don't want you to judge us and tell us, oh, it's because you don't discipline your child, that is why one how aliso. Please. So I hope this raises awareness for all those people that we just are trying our best at the very same time, grasping or dealing with a diagnosis that half of us don't even know what it is. And that is that, guys. I thought I was not going to ramble too much, but it so happened. It is what it is. And I hope that it's received in good faith. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. For those of you whom it helps, I hope it's helped you in a way that it helps you move forward, take a next step forward, and know what you need to do. And for another person, I hope it just raised more awareness in terms of autism, so that should you come across that a child or a person, you would know more how to handle it, or know more how to interact with them. But that is it from me, guys. Thank you so much for the loves. Thank you for the support. Please remember to comment, to like, share, and most importantly, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks, guys. Love you. Peace.